since we were on the NBA here for a little bit, I didn't initially plan on talking about this, but I have been forced. My hand has been forced, and I will bow to the whims of what was one of the strangest press conferences maybe ever. So normally on this show, I'll read quotes. I don't usually play video, but in this particular case, I'm going to play video with audio, and we're just going to go through each of these individually and listen to all of these delicious quotes together. So, and then we'll talk about it. This might be a couple of minutes, but I want to just get I want I want to make sure I hit every point. So, let me just go ahead and do share screen. Can I just do window? Does this work? Share tab or screen. Okay, well then I guess I'll just share screen. Because then if I share the tab, or I guess I could just switch. Okay, here's what I'll do. I know what I'll do. I know how to do this. All right. So let's. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's remove you. And why did. There we go. That was weird. All right. We're going to go ahead and listen in on this. So this is Nico Harrison on the backlash to trading Luka Doncic. And let's listen in together.
When you were kicking the idea of this trade around, and you had various scenarios planned in your head, did the anger and outrage from the fan base, has that exceeded what you were kind of planning for?
Yeah, good question. I did know that Luca was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level, but really the way we looked at it is, if you're putting a team on the floor that's Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Anthony Davis, and Lively, we feel that's a championship caliber team, and we would have been winning at a high level, and that would have quieted some of the outrage. And so, unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. So it just continued to, go on and on.
When you were kicking,
Yeah, no, I agree. That team, that does sound like it could compete. I think one of the other things too, Nico, if you would have added, say, like a European sharpshooter, a guy who can just, create his own shot, is just an offensive. Yeah, I think I would have probably been. And someone kind of like Luka Doncic would probably really do well there. We're just gonna. Oh, okay. The video is not available anymore for this one. But I guess we'll just read this verbatim then. Dallas general manager Nico Harrison fully embracing the arrogant and power-hungry narrative surrounding him. Now, I don't know. That's probably editorialization. Quote, unfortunately, I'm super stubborn. So someone telling me to do something doesn't work too well for me. Okay. Let's try this one. This one here.
Well, when you have
this is Nico Harrison on the Fire Nico chants.
20,000 people in this stadium chanting Fire Nico, you really feel it. I mean, I use the word awesome, but not in a positive way. Like, you can really feel how they feel. So yes, I feel them. Well,
this this one is just pretty funny. I would also use the word awesome, but not in a positive way to describe Nico Harrison. Moving along then to the next one. Nico Harrison, I have never spoken ill of Luka. Let's hear it.
You said defense wins championships. Luka was quoted as saying, it's just sad the way he's talking right now. I never say anything bad about him, and I just want to move on. How do you react to that quote?
I feel the same way he does. Like, I've actually never spoken ill of Luka at all, and I just ready to move on with this team that we have.
You said defense.
No, I mean, yeah, I guess directly you've never spoken ill of him. But, saying essentially he's lazy, fat, and doesn't play good defense. Yeah, I mean, if you don't count that, then yeah, I guess you've never spoken ill of Luka. But wait, there's more. We gotta go to this one here. on the possibility of that the fan relationship will never be repaired. Here we go.
I know you said winning will repair it, but have you ever thought about what if it doesn't?
I'm an optimistic person, and I move by faith, not by fear.
I know you said win.
What an answer. Like, on the possibility that the fan relationship will never be repaired, I'm not moved by fear. In other words, I am not afraid of you people. I don't care what you say. I don't care. I don't care. It's like that musical back in the 50s. I don't care. I don't care. I don't remember what the name of the musical is, but there's some, you can look it up. You can find it. Huh? Faith in what exactly? That's what I want to know. And finally, the coup de grace, the ultimate one. Nico Harrison is asked, why shouldn't you be fired? And here we go. Let's take a listen.
Luka comes back to town, the Lakers game's happening, and you're standing there and there's thousands of people chanting for you to be fired. That's an experience that none of us, no one's chanting for for us to lose our jobs. Why shouldn't you be fired?
Well, one, I think I've done a really good job here, and I don't think I can be judged by the injuries this year. You have to judge from totality, from beginning to end, and so I think I have a really good working relationship with Patrick.
Luka comes back to town, the Lakers.
And that's pretty much all I wanted to share. So, first of all, on that last point, it's never a great situation when a media person is asking a GM why you shouldn't be fired. Like, they advocate on behalf of yourself. Because, unfortunately, it's a defensive situation that you find yourself in. It's a, look, things are not as bad as you might see them to be. It's, actually, I think we're doing really well. One of the things I think you shouldn't say, and again, I've never been in this position. One of the things you shouldn't say is that, actually, I think I've done a great job. Actually, I think I've done a pretty good job. And I got a great relationship with the owner. You know what that, certainly in sports, if I hear that from, let's just, I don't want to get into the Steve Heisman discussion again because hockey fans can't accept things. So let's just say, Matt Millen said, well, I think I've done a pretty good job and I got a great relationship with the Fords. If I would have heard that, I would have just said, you know what? I'm just not going to watch the games anymore. I'm just not going to cover the team. I'm not going to do it. Because at that point, if you are telling me that you think this is a good job, that you think this is acceptable, and that furthermore, the owner has a great relationship with you, oh, we're boned. We're cooked. Like, you can't, you're not going to do well with that. On a lot of these other questions, look, somebody pointed this out. It's like this was made in a laboratory as like bad GM isms. Like, it's to the point where I'm almost of the belief that this guy is genuinely either it's just a psyop. Like, he's just been secretly working for the Lakers or working against Luka Doncic for some particular reason. Or, alternatively, he really is just that dumb. Like, and I am not, in general, of the opinion that there's that many really stupid people. But the way that he's acting is challenging that belief. Like, there are people who might not know a lot of information. But I think if you get to the point where you are a general manager of a professional sports team, you simply can't be stupid. Like, you have to be at least clever in some ways. One thing is for sure. If you are unaware of the impact that Luka Doncic has on your team, given the fact that he just took you to an NBA Finals, winning a conference championship, there are countless Luka Doncic jerseys, there's countless Luka moments. The fact that, the term Doncic dagger, like that he is a killer for, like, that Dirk Nowitzki is endorsing him as, his successor for Dallas. Like, how could you just be that unaware? Like, look, as a Detroit sports fan, I've seen my fair share of really terrible GMs. I've seen Al Avila. I've seen Troy Weaver. I've seen plenty of bad general managers. Name any. I've seen Bob Quinn, Matt Millen. I've seen plenty of mismanagement. I gotta tell you, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen, like, it's one thing for a general manager if you sign the bad players or if you make trades that don't really work out in the long run, whether that's you give up too much or you trade for a bad player or whatever the case might be. This guy, in one singular move, completely flipped the entirety of the direction that the Dallas Mavericks are moving. And frankly, anybody who at the moment was defending it in any way is delusional. It is completely out of the loop of what makes a team good, especially in the NBA. The NBA is a star-driven league. Whether you like it or not, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of it, but the reality is if you don't have stars and or a superstar, primarily a superstar player, you're not going to win. You're just not. Like, you could. There are some occasions where, in the rare instances, similar, like the 2004 Pistons or other similar kind of team, where they managed to break that mold once or maybe twice. Usually, you need to have the superstar, and you had one. You had a one of one. You had Luka freaking Doncic. You had a guy that I would give up like 4 out of our 5 starters right now to have Luka Doncic pair with Kate Cunningham. You could take Tim Hardaway, you could take Asar Thompson, you could take Jalen Duren, you could take Jaden Ivey, all for Luka. That's what I would do. That's how good Luka Doncic is. Whether or not that's reasonable or not is a different discussion. The fact that I am willing to say he is as good, if not better, than those 4 players to me, that tells me how much of an impact he can actually make for a team. And if you, as a general manager, just forget the fan impact, forget, people being upset that their favorite player got traded. Forget that. If you can't identify the talent, if you can't identify the player's value on the court, what are you doing being the general manager of a team? If not, basically a saboteur. And it doesn't help I never said anything negative about, really? I mean, yes, you never at any point said, I hate Luka Doncic, he's fat and ugly and European. No, you never said that. However, when you say things like, well, we believe defense wins championships, or, I worked with Kobe Bryant and we have a certain work ethic that we, want to, stand in line with. The implication is, whether this is actually true or not, Luka sucks on defense, which, to be fair, he's not that great on defense, but Luka sucks on defense. He doesn't work hard, and he's fat and out of shape. That is the end of the passive aggressive nature of what he said. And then furthermore, I mean, the PR mania of kicking guys out because they said fire Nico at a game. I'm sorry, man. Like, first of all, you can't be all that confident in the job you've done if you got to fire people for paying their own hard-earned money to go to a game just to, let their voice be heard that they are dissatisfied with the job you've done. Again, to me, it's this is going to go down. And, regardless of whether Luka Doncic wins a title with LA, which frankly, I would be surprised if he does not, just given the situation that LA is in, and just given the fact that you I mean, you just gave them a new superstar to build a team around from this point forward. Once LeBron retires, which could be in the next couple of years here, you just gave them a reset button essentially. You gave them, okay, we lost LeBron, but we have Luka, and so you can build around Luka. You don't have to worry about draft lotto or finding the diamond in the rough late in the draft. You don't got to worry about any of that, and you just gave it to him. I talked about it at the time, but this press conference, man, what's the guy got to do to get fired in Dallas? It's got to be tough to be a Dallas sports fan. You better hope that the Stars win the Stanley Cup this year. Oh, man. Or maybe the Texas Rangers do something. I guess you had the Rangers win a World Series not that long ago, but jeez, you got the Cowboys and then this. Thought maybe you just had to deal with the Cowboys as a Dallas sports fan. Now you got to deal with this. Yeah, it's bad. Hi, it's me again. If you enjoyed what you just saw, hit the like and subscribe button. We do live shows every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there.